Hello guys and coin collector, the 1998 1-cent coin of Canada, a comprehensive historical study. Introduction. The Canadian 1-cent coin dated 1998 occupies a modest place in the nation's long numismatic history, yet it also stands as a revealing artifact of Canada at the close of the 20th century. At first glance, the 1998 penny appears unremarkable, a small, copper-colored coin bearing the familiar maple leaf on one side and Queen Elizabeth II on the other. However, behind this everyday object lies a layered story involving Canada's economic conditions, technological shifts in coin production, political symbolism, and the gradual decline of the penny itself. By examining the history, design, composition, production context, circulation, and later legacy of the 1998 Canadian 1-cent coin, we gain insight not only into the coin, but also into Canadian society during a transitional era. This essay explores the origins of the Canadian penny, its evolution leading up to 1998, the specific features and production details of the 1998 issue, and its broader historical and cultural significance. In doing so, the 1998 1-cent coin emerges as more than spare change. It becomes a small but telling witness to the end of a century and the approaching end of the penny in Canada. Origins of the Canadian 1-cent coin. To understand the 1998 penny, it is necessary to trace the history of the Canadian 1-cent coin itself. Canada introduced its first 1-cent pieces in 1858, before Confederation, when the province of Canada issued coins denominated in cents rather than British pence. This shift reflected Canada's growing economic independence and alignment with a decimal monetary system similar to that of the United States. From its inception, the 1-cent coin was intended for everyday commerce. It facilitated small transactions, allowed prices to be set precisely, and served as a tangible symbol of national sovereignty. Early Canadian cents were large, heavy copper coins featuring Queen Victoria on the obverse and various national motifs on the reverse. After Confederation in 1867, the Dominion of Canada continued issuing 1-cent coins, adapting their designs to reflect reigning monarchs and evolving national identity. Over time, changes in metal composition, size, and minting technology responded to economic pressures, particularly fluctuations in copper prices and the cost of coin production. By the mid-20th century, the penny had become a familiar yet increasingly debated part of Canadian currency. Inflation steadily eroded its purchasing power, but tradition and convenience kept it in circulation. This tension between practicality and symbolism would eventually shape the fate of the penny, making the 1998 issue part of the coin's late life phase. The penny in late 20th century Canada. The decades leading up to 1998 were marked by significant economic and social changes in Canada. Inflation during the 1970s and 1980s reduced the real value of the 1-cent coin to a fraction of its original worth. What once bought meaningful goods now represented little more than a rounding unit. Despite this, pennies remained deeply embedded in Canadian daily life. Prices continued to end in .99 or .95. Cash registers were designed around cent-based accounting, and many Canadians held nostalgic attachments to the coin. Children collected pennies in jars, charities organized penny drives, and the phrase, "a penny for your thoughts," remained part of common speech. From a production standpoint, the Royal Canadian Mint faced rising costs associated with metal prices and manufacturing. By the 1990s, the cost of producing a penny approached, or at times exceeded, its face value. This economic reality sparked periodic public and political discussions about eliminating the coin, though no decisive action was taken at the time. Thus, the 1998 1-cent coin was minted in an environment of growing doubt about the penny's future, even as it continued to circulate widely. The Royal Canadian Mint and coin production in 1998. The Royal Canadian Mint, RCM, established in 1908, was responsible for producing Canadian circulation coins in 1998. By the late 20th century, the Mint had developed advanced technological capabilities, including high-speed presses and refined quality control processes. In 1998, Canadian pennies were struck primarily at the Winnipeg facility, which handled large-scale circulation coinage. The Ottawa facility focused more on collector and commemorative issues. The RCM's goal was to produce vast quantities of durable, uniform coins capable of withstanding years of circulation. Pennies of this era were no longer made of solid copper. Instead, they consisted of a copper-plated zinc core, a cost-saving measure introduced earlier to reduce dependence on increasingly expensive copper. This composition affected the coin's weight, durability, and appearance, making it slightly lighter than older copper pennies while retaining the familiar reddish color. The 1998 mintage numbers were high, reflecting ongoing demand for 1-cent coins in everyday commerce. While exact figures vary depending on accounting methods, tens of millions of pennies dated 1998 entered circulation, ensuring that the coin was a common sight in wallets and cash drawers across the country. Physical characteristics of the 1998 Canadian 1-cent coin. The 1998 Canadian penny adhered to long-standing specifications that had changed little in preceding decades. Diameter: approximately 19.05 millimeters. Weight: about 2.35 grams. Composition: copper-plated zinc. Shape: round. Vulcaning: Louvre. These specifications ensured compatibility with vending machines, coin sorting equipment, and existing monetary infrastructure. The coin's light weight and small size made it easy to carry, though also easy to lose, a frequent complaint among critics of the penny. The copper plating gave the coin its characteristic warm hue, though circulation often dulled the surface over time. Zinc exposure could occur if the plating wore off, particularly in heavily circulated examples. Obverse design: Queen Elizabeth II. The obverse front of the 1998 Canadian 1-cent coin features the effigy of Queen Elizabeth II, designed by Dora de Patery Hunt. This portrait was introduced in 1990 and depicts the Queen wearing a tiara, facing right. Dora de Patery Hunt, a Hungarian-born Canadian sculptor, was the first woman to design an effigy of a reigning monarch for Canadian coinage. Her portrayal of Queen Elizabeth II is dignified yet approachable, emphasizing realism over idealization. The Queen appears mature, reflecting her long reign and symbolic role as a steady constitutional figure. Constitutional figure. The obverse inscription reads, Elizabeth Eudg Regina. This Latin phrase translates to Elizabeth II, by the grace of God, Queen. The inscription underscores Canada's status as a constitutional monarchy and its historical ties to the British Crown. The date 1998 appears on the obverse as well, indicating the year of issue. Reverse design: the maple leaf. The reverse, back, of the 1998 penny bears the iconic maple leaf design, created by G. Kruger Gray in 1937. This design had been in continuous use on the Canadian 1-cent coin for over 60 years by 1998, making it one of the longest-running motifs in Canadian numismatics. The maple leaf is a powerful national symbol, representing Canada's natural environment, unity, and identity. Its use on the penny reinforced the coin's role as a distinctly Canadian object, even in everyday transactions. The reverse inscription includes Canada, 1 cent. These simple words clearly identify the coin's country of origin and denomination. The straightforward layout reflects the penny's utilitarian purpose. The longevity of the maple leaf design speaks to its effectiveness and resonance. While other denominations underwent more frequent redesigns, the penny's reverse remained a stable visual anchor across generations. Circulation and everyday use. In 1998, the 1-cent coin remained an integral part of Canadian commerce. Cash transactions routinely involved pennies, and prices were calculated to the cent. Retailers depended on them for making exact change, and consumers expected to receive them. Pennies dated 1998 circulated alongside coins from earlier decades, creating a mix of designs and conditions in everyday use. While most people paid little attention to the year stamped on their change, collectors occasionally set aside newer or shinier examples. The penny's ubiquity also made it a target of frustration. Many Canadians viewed pennies as inconvenient, heavy in bulk, and of negligible value. coins accumulated in jars and drawers, often unused for long periods. Still, the penny maintained a cultural presence. School fundraisers collected pennies for charity, and children learned basic arithmetic by counting them. The 1998 penny thus participated in both economic transactions and informal educational and social practices. Numismatic value and collectability. From a collector's standpoint, the 1998 Canadian 1-cent coin is generally considered a common issue. Its high mintage and widespread circulation mean that most examples carry little premium above face value. However, certain factors can enhance collectability. Condition. Uncirculated or proof-like examples retain greater value, particularly those with bright, intact copper plating. Errors and varieties. As with any mass-produced coin, occasional minting errors, such as off-center strikes or plating defects, can attract collector interest. Contextual collections. The 1998 penny may be included in year sets, type collections, or thematic collections, focusing on the late 20th century or the final years of the penny. While not rare, the 1998 penny holds historical interest as part of the period leading up to the eventual discontinuation of the denomination. Economic debate and the penny's decline. By the late 1990s, debate over the penny's usefulness had intensified. Economists and policymakers increasingly questioned the logic of producing a coin that cost nearly as much as, or more than, its face value. Critics argued that pennies wasted time in transactions, imposed hidden costs on businesses, and contributed little to economic efficiency. Supporters countered that eliminating the penny would lead to price rounding and potential inflation, as well as the loss of a familiar symbol. The 1998 penny was minted squarely within this debate, though no immediate action followed. Still, the coin represents a stage in the penny's slow march toward obsolescence. The end of the Canadian penny. Although outside the immediate time frame of 1998, the eventual fate of the penny is crucial to understanding the coin's legacy. In 2012, the Canadian government announced the end of penny production, citing cost and efficiency concerns. Distribution ceased in 2013, and the coin was gradually withdrawn from circulation. This decision transformed all late-issue pennies, including those dated 1998, into historical artifacts. What had once been mundane pocket change became a reminder of a discontinued monetary practice. The 1998 penny thus occupies a liminal position, old enough to reflect 20th century traditions, yet close enough to the penny's end to symbolize its decline. Cultural and symbolic significance. Beyond economics, the 1998 Canadian 1-cent coin carries cultural meaning. Coins serve as miniature documents of national identity, encoding political authority, artistic preferences, and social values. The presence of Queen Elizabeth II underscores Canada's constitutional monarchy and continuity of governance. The maple leaf reinforces national pride and unity. Together, these elements express a balanced identity, rooted in tradition yet distinctly Canadian. For many Canadians, pennies evoke personal memories, childhood piggy banks, first purchases, or lessons in saving. A 1998 penny might recall a specific moment in time, linking private memory to public history. Conclusion. The 1998 Canadian 1-cent coin may be small in size and modest in value, but its historical significance is considerable. As a product of the Royal Canadian Mint at the end of the 20th century, it reflects economic pressures, technological adaptations, and enduring symbols of national identity. By examining its origins, design, production, circulation, and legacy, we see how the 1998 penny fits into the broader story of Canadian coinage and monetary evolution. It represents both continuity through its long-standing maple leaf design and royal effigy, and change as part of the final decades before the penny's disappearance. Today, the 1998 1-cent coin stands as a tangible reminder of a bygone era in Canadian daily life, when even the smallest denomination still played a visible role in commerce and culture. In this way, the humble penny endures not just as metal and date, but as history in the palm of the hand.